Chapter 2 of Dormant. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dormant by E. Nesbit. Chapter 2. A Book Like Another. You know Charlotte Street, Fitzroy Square. It is not a pretty street, and on a wet day it is, of course, uglier than ever. The rain came straight down and steady, without pause, for it had its work to do, and without haste, for there was plenty of time to do it in. Most of the foot passengers appeared merely as trousers or skirts surmounted by umbrellas. Inside the entries of those Swiss boarding houses where young waiters wait, desiring situations, and sinking day by day more deeply into the patron's debt, groups of anemic, unshaved youths watched with dull eyes the stream of sordid traffic, and talked in strange tongues of unemployment and the English climate. From out these doorways rank cigarette smoke eddied into the rain, and with it came intermittent, weary criticism of the passers-by. These English, they were sad, they were stupid, they were unintelligent, everything which the Swiss exile from Swiss scenery esteemed himself as not being. And the women, said a lank man with oily hair and a long yellow face. Women, camels. Their eyes like blue porcelain. Their hands like hams for largeness. Their feet like the foot of elephant. Their teeth as is one who has swallowed a pianoforte not completely. So arose the chorus of detraction, justified perhaps by the thin stream of worn-out working women that trickled along Charlotte Street towards those strange courts which hide in the square bounded by Goodge Street, Howland Street, and the Tottenham Court Road. Since I am here, 10 interminable days, a pink-faced, square-faced boy went on, shrugging round, broad shoulders. I see not one woman that one may call a woman, that is not French or Swiss or German. Thou hast reason. The English women are camels, and the reason— But hold, the yellow-faced lounger interrupted, resettling his hat at an alluring angle. En voici une, for example. A thrill of self-consciousness electrified the languid group. It was like seeing dogs prick up their ears, and all eyes turned to where between black mud and gray sky came a young woman who trod the pavement with the freedom of a boy and the assurance of a maiden goddess. Her skirts were short and straight, none of that flow and draggle and drip that Goodge Street knows so well, and skirt, as well as coat, was of brown corduroy. A three-cornered hat of brown felt was set firmly on coils of black hair, and the rain had lit to radiance that skin of white and rose which belongs to Irish eyes. The girl looked about her as she went, with no roving weakness, but with a keen interest and observation. Her hands were bare, slender, and pink in the rain, and they held many parcels. The pink-faced youth spat reflectively. "The first," he said. "The first I see who is worthy of thought from a son of Helvetia." "Almost I follow her," said the yellow-faced man. "Yet, no, it is not worth the trouble. Nothing is worth the trouble in this land abominable. Yet she has charm, I tell it you. Aye, Achille, you have not the courage to say her good day," said an undersized dark boy, frowning. "Why vaunt yourself? You are a waiter, and she has a queen." "Thou sayest?" The yellow-faced Achille plumed himself like a bantam cock. "I shall see. If she repasses by here, I address her the speech, do I not? For 20 centimes. "I bet you 50 you dare not," said the boy, who was an ugly boy with large ears. "And if you win the 50 centimes, I pay. Also I fight." A roar of laughter went up, laughter without beauty, without mirth, the ugly laughter of ugly souls who laugh at the real things of life. "The little Sebastian, behold him at last épris. See, she has entered Vadenhouten's. She goes to buy the pâtisserie for the noce with the gentil petit Sebastian." Sebastian drew into his jacket and seemed to grow smaller. He hoped she would not come back that way. He hoped he should not have to fight Achille. He hoped he should win Achille's 50 centimes. He hoped many things. The girl in the brown dress and the Napoleon hat came out of Vandenhouten's, and the parcels she carried were more than ever. She stood a moment, undecided, and in that moment Sebastian found time to put up a prayer to his patron saint. He was young, and was not long from home. To him, his patron saint was still a force that ill-doers had to reckon with. Also, he confusedly implored the consideration of Saint Agnes and Saint Ursula, so evidently the lady's patrons, to turn the lady's steps in any direction other than that of the Hotel Simplon. The saints seldom answer a prayer as one answers a request for bread and butter. There is always a little subtlety about the saints. The boy got what he wished, and not what he asked for. She turned and came back along the pavement. The yellow Achille pulled up his collar and ran fat yellow fingers through the oily black curls above his ears. Sebastian trembled and wondered how it felt to carry a knife in one's waist belt over the right hip, as some men did. And the girl came on, unconscious, nearer, nearer. Now she was almost opposite the door, and Achille made a half-step forward. Sebastian caught at his arm, but the saints had not been idle. Their unseen fingers, no doubt, had been busy with the strings of all these parcels, and that was why, at this very moment of all moments, something gave way among the parcels, and half of them fell and clattered and slid on the slimy pavement of Charlotte Street. Sebastian was first. He had picked up the square Vandenhouten box and the packet that felt like charcuterie, before the others were there, quite wordless, but enthusiastically helpful, picking up the brown paper packets, wiping the mud away from them, and restoring them with every manifestation of respectful regret to their owner. Sebastian picked up the last parcel as well as the first, and as he gave it to her, his fingers touched hers. It was an accident. Or did the saints throw it in as a make-weight? Then suddenly the girl looked from one to another of the group and smiled. She looked at the mud on the handkerchiefs they held and smiled a little more. Then she said, "I thank you infinitely, messieurs. Good morning," and was gone. And then they were all on the pavement saying, "Il n'y a pas de quoi, mademoiselle," and "De rien, mademoiselle," with their hats in their hands and their cigarettes nowhere. Achille had won his bet. He had spoken to her. He had said, "Pas de quoi, mademoiselle," with the others. But Sebastian promised his patron a little candle for next Sunday all the same. He paid his centimes like a man, and Achille took them. "All the same, it is to these a psychologic victory," he said handsomely. "Thou hadst reason. She is a queen. I add my 50, and we all have a bock, and drink to the reine inconnue." This toast they drank by the sticky marble tables of Cellini near to hand, with intense seriousness and their hands on their hearts. They were only boys, after all, even the large yellow Achille, and one does not see a goddess every day. So the smile that conquered the little East End hooligans served as a protecting halo in Fitzroy Street, and illustrates the sort of effect Rose Royal had on people, and tells you more about her than you would learn by a complete catalogue of her more habitual conquests. Rose had been the reigning beauty of the Slade, but then quite ugly girls had been that. She was the leader in her set. But then, charm is not always of the essence of a leader. She had received from 2 to 5 offers of marriage every year since she was 17, and at least twice as many offers of platonic friendship. Declarations of impermanent adoration at various temperatures were to her common incidents of life, to be laughed at or to despise according to the circumstances of the declaration and the nature of the declarer. She had girlfriends by the dozens who worshipped and obeyed, and she had not more than half a dozen enemies, and all of these were women, and none of them whole-hearted foes. She was poor, proud, and energetic, had versatility and initiative, a good temper, and perfect health. It was always she who said, "Let's," and her friends who said, "Yes, do let's." As for her faults, I fear they stick out of this catalogue of her endowments. She walked on. Her arms were now uncomfortably full of parcels, and one more purchase remained to be made, the gift for her tenant. The parcel she already had cost her all the money left of her month's income, save and except the 4 shillings which were the price of a birthday present not yet bought. The paper of the parcels was getting wet. Corners of their insides protruded through the softened wrappings. One saw the gleam of a sardine tin, the spring tint of a lettuce. "Oh, bother," she said, and let the parcels fall from her arms on the mat of an open doorway. Then she made an apron of her dress, lifting it with one hand and dropping the parcels in it, and so carried the load along Goodge Street, brave in crimson petticoat and lifted skirt. In Tottenham Court Road she saw a taximeter cab. The driver caught her eye and raised his hand. Quite without meaning to nod, she nodded, and the taxi slid to the edge of the pavement and stopped in front of her. "Ugh, bother," she said, tumbling the parcels onto the floor of the cab. 2000 St. Martin's Lane. She leaned back against the air cushions, enjoying the luxury of such soft rest, for she was tired, and the parcels had been many and awkward, and while her body luxuriated, her mind scowled. "Just like you," it said, "to tire yourself out grubbing round so as to save 18 pence. And just when the whole beastly business is nearly over, you weaken, hail a taxi, and throw everything away. You might as well have taken one to begin with, and saved yourself all this bag, for you can't buy the book now." This theme, with the interminable variations on it so familiar to all of us who are not millionaires or consistent economists, occupied her till the cab set her down before the second-hand bookshop, in face of whose window she always spent in passing a few covetous moments. "It's no good," she said, "but one might as well try it on," and she went in. The stout, black-bearded, black-skull-capped man turned keen eyes on her behind his large spectacles. "Oh, Mr. Abramson, good morning," she said. "May I look at that book again? You know, the one about precious stones and things, with the pages written in at the end. I want to buy it to give to a friend for a birthday present." He stretched a hand to a dusty shelf. "I do like the smell of your shop," she said, reaching out her hand for the book he now held. "It's not only the old leather, it's something that's like the dream of a dream." "It is perhaps the fragrance of the past, Miss Royal," said he. "Of course it is," she said, and flashed her smile at him. "I wish I could interest you in the fragrance of the future." She had always interested him, as she interested most men. He would not have said so. What he said was, "Proceed, Lady Sibylla." "Yes, I know I'm mysterious," she said, "but the fact behind the mystery is that I want this book most awfully, and it's 4 shillings. "And what is 4 shillings?" Mr. Abramson asked, to one with the princess's chariot awaiting her. He glanced through the light lines between the brown prints wafered against the window at the waiting taxicab. "That's just it," said the girl, yielding to an inspiration of truth-telling. "I had got just 4 shillings left, and I had such a heap of parcels, and the insides were worming out of them because of their getting wet. Perhaps you haven't noticed how it's raining, Mr. Abramson?" "It is the inclement weather," he said, "which is usual in this land of melancholy liberty. And so?" "And then the taxi hailed me, and before I knew where I was, I said yes. And that means, will you take 2 shillings for the book? Because really and truly, that's all I've got." The old man raised his eyebrows slowly. "So?" he said, and paused on the word. "What do you say?" said Rose, consciously and unconsciously using all her power, all her charm on this old dry as dust. "I say not no," said Mr. Abramson. "Ah?" said Rose, and he raised a hand. "Also, I say not yes. I have other books, very good books at the 2 shilling price. The friend will be very pleased with the book at 2 shillings that I shall sell you." "It's that book I want," the girl told him. "But why that book? Is it by chance very rare and valuable, and I do not know it? And Miss Royal knows it and seeks to make her profit of old Abramson." "Of course it isn't," she impetuously answered. "And there's the taxi eating its head off at 2p a second or whatever it is. It's only that it's got my friend's name in it, the friend I want to give it to for a birthday present, and the book plate and all. Perhaps it belonged to an ancestor or something. Will you take 2 shillings? He took for the moment not 2 shillings, but the book from her hand, and looking down obliquely through his spectacles, read aloud, "Ex libris Anthony Drelincourt." Then he looked at her. The same lack of self-control that had driven her into her taxi drove her now on the mercy of the second-hand bookseller. A flash of crimson illumined the face, whose eyes brightened and drooped suddenly. "So," said Mr. Abramson, and Miss Royal understood that her secret was not any longer her secret. "You fool, you born blind idiot," she silently called herself. "My dear young lady," said the bookseller, dandling the brown octavo in his hand as a grandmother dandles her first grandchild, "I love all books, and this I very much love, because I do not understand it. It was my son Gideon who priced it 4 shillings. For me, 40, I should have said, or perhaps 40 pounds, who knows? There are in this book secrets, old secrets, precious to men a long time dead." He whirred the leaves with accustomed thumb and ended with an open gesture which displayed pages of twisted characters in faded brown ink. "It is the manuscriptum," he said, "and the finest works they are, the ones that never were printed." "But if I've only got 2 shillings left," said Miss Royal, her eyes on the book. "You come another time. I keep it for you," said Mr. Abramson, his eyes on hers. "But it's his birthday today," she said. "The same name and arms," he said. "Yes, of course, that's just it," she said. "I see," said he, and there was a pause. Outside, the blurred sound of London traffic swept by. "Well?" said Miss Royal. "Well," said Nathan Abramson. And again, London's voices spoke. "His name? It is just the same Antonio?" "Antony, yes." "He's an artist, like Miss Royal?" "He's a chemist, an experimental chemist, and physics and physiology, all those sort of scientific things. He's always trying to find out secrets of nature, you know? This book also, it deals with the experimental chemistry and secret ways. If once it belonged to one of your friends' family, that shows the taste for the experimental, and the secret is inherited." "Yes," she said. His tone when he said, "your friend," brushed softly and kindly on the quivering surface of her revealed secret. She looked at him with eyes whose deep appeal was no longer conscious. "Et in Arcadio ego," he murmured. "What did you say?" said she. "I said that I could not abate the price," Mr. Abramson answered. "But I know Miss Royal. Take it, and pay me when you can." "I've got 2 shillings, she said, showing them. "Those you keep," said the bookseller. "Who knows? You may need another taxi." "It's awfully good of you," said the girl. "Of course, you know I shall pay you all right." "I know," he said. "At the same time, I think the little accommodation I give you deserves a bonus. If this book is of service to your friend, Antonio, if by it the secret he searches for reveal itself, and he grows rich, you give me 100 pounds. He give me 100 pounds. Is it so?" 100 pounds, Rose Royal said, leaning her elbows on the counter, rubbed smooth by so many elbows of persons who desired or despaired of various items of Mr. Abramson's stock. "If he get 2,000, I get 100. Only a little 5%, is it not?" She saw that he smiled, and she also smiled. 100 pounds, she said, if he gets 2,000 out of the book. Rather. "The notes," said the bookseller, fluttering the leaves. "The marginal notes and the manuscriptum. It is these that your friend should study." The intonation of "your friend" brought the blood to her face again. "Thank you," she said. "I'll bring the money early in April. The 4 shillings, I mean." "I know you will," he said. "And for the friend, hide everything. I am an old man, and I know. I also, in Arcadia, have been. Reveal nothing. Let nothing be shown. Keep your secret, my young Lady Royal." "Can he read this?" "I don't know," she said. "Can anybody?" "If I were a beautiful young lady who gave a present," said he, "I would learn first to read what I gave. There are those who teach such things. But I've got to give the present today, she said. It's his birthday. There isn't time to learn anything. Oh, what are we talking about? It's just a book like any other book. It's a birthday present for him. Yes, said Mr. Abramson. Just a book like any other book. Just a birthday present to a friend. Thank you so very much, she said conventionally, all the unconventionality of the interview suddenly coming home to her. Not at all, Miss Royal, he said, matching her mood. She went back to the taxicab with its burden of little parcels, bearing with her the old brown leather-covered book, and the knowledge that her heart's most intimate secret was given away to an old second-hand bookseller in St. Martin's Lane. The old man followed her across the pavement to her cab door. "Courage," he said. "With courage, all is well. Some day I read the beautiful Miss Royal's fortune. I lay out the cards for her, no? Some day when it is not the friend's birthday and your heart is free for new things. Abramson knows the cards. I could make much money in Bond Street telling the fortunes of the ladies with dyed hair who are no longer young and desire the heritage of youth. But I only lay out the cards for hope and beauty and youth and the strength of youth. You come again for that?" "Thank you," she said. "Oh, thank you very much, but I think people make their own fortunes, don't they?" "So say always the beloved of the gods," the old man answered. "But the fates decree otherwise." Some impulse, forever unexplained, brought Royal's hand out to the seller of second-hand books. "Thank you," she said, not knowing why. "Thank you." "Ah," said Mr. Abramson, taking it carefully. "You have one gift, the greatest. You know your friends." End of chapter 2.